Yep.
Let me just start by thanking Kevin for this opportunity and to let you all know that I'm thrilled to be here. I came here for the first time in the early 90s as a secondary coach at the University of the Pacific, who no longer plays football. We played a great football game against a very good football team that night, 16-13. We lost. Game was delayed by lightning. They came in and asked us during the delay if we wanted to take the check and go home. They were a very physical team, and we got ourselves beat in pretty good. One of the veteran coaches says, "Yeah, take that check, let's go." I was young and naive, and I said, "Heck no, we're staying and fighting. We're playing this game." But that night that I was here and experienced the atmosphere, experienced the University of Arizona, experienced the Tucson community, I knew this was a place someday that I'd like to have the opportunity to coach. And with that said, I'm excited to be joining Kevin's staff. He and I have known each other for a long time, competing against each other, as he said, recruiting against each other and so forth, and thrilled about the opportunity to be here and lead this defense.
When did when did Kevin reach out to you?
We've been in conversations here for the past week or so. You know, those details are unimportant, but we've been conversing here for the last week.
Were you actively looking for a defensive coordinator position somewhere?
I was not actively looking in the fact that I was calling people and expressing interest in that regard. I describe it this way. I had a personal itch to coordinate again, and it needed scratching. And when the opportunities started to present themselves, this is one I was immediately very excited about.
Have you had an opportunity yet to examine Arizona's returning personnel or anything?
Not to that extent. I mean, obviously, we played here this fall, and preparation went into that. Our preparation was on the other side of the ball, so I probably have better knowledge of the offensive personnel than I do the defensive personnel at this point, but that'll be something we'll dig into very quickly and very aggressively.
What would you say are your main tenets or philosophies that you will promote?
Yeah, first thing you got to do is you got to tackle great, and I think tackling is taught. I think not only do you teach it, but you rep it, and you rep it in the proper ways. Player safety is a high concern to me, so we're going to teach our kids how to take care of themselves, how to protect themselves, but how to get offensive players on the ground. I don't think overall it's taught like it was in the past, and that will be priority number one to teach. We're going to play hard. We're going to fly around the field, and we're going to play with a fanatical effort that Arizona fans will be proud of. We're going to get lined up properly, as Coach said. We're going to be fundamentally and technically sound. And if you've noticed, I haven't mentioned one thing about scheme or coverage or fronts. They will actually be secondary to those things I just mentioned.
With that being said, what scheme?
Yeah, I'll put it this: we're going to play zone. We're going to pressure, and we'll play low man. How's that? We'll be multiple as far as front goes. You'll see us in a three-man front. You'll see us in a four-man front. But as the question was posed about the personnel, we got to figure that out a little bit too. You got to put your players in the best positions, the best situations to be successful, and that will go a long ways and determine final scheme and how much of certain things that we do.
Will you coach a position group as well?
Yeah, not finalized yet because we have other pieces to fill in, but there's a good chance that I'll coordinate from the linebacker position. I think that's the most connected to both the front and the back end, and most connected then to the run and the pass game because of it.
How much autonomy has Kevin given you as far as filling out the rest of the defensive staff?
We're going to talk about that. We're going to discuss that yet today, as a matter of fact.
We got a meeting right after this. If you guys let me go, please.
You handled a lot of Arizona in your recruiting at UCLA?
Yeah, the first year I had the entire state. We've since broken it up and added another coach in the state. But yeah, I love recruiting down here. I came down here to finish up recruiting Kenny Churchwell 2 years ago, and after I was down here, I told our director of player personnel, I says, if you don't have anybody assigned, you know, I'll take Arizona. Next thing I knew, I had a lot of schools both in California and Arizona, so we added some help down here. But I've developed a good relationship with the coaches in the state, and looking forward to continuing to do that.
Two questions.
How much has it changed in the 20 or so years this state as far as the recruiting landscape?
Yeah, I think it has changed greatly. I think there's a lot of players in this state. I think there's probably a fair number of overlooked players in this state. I think the state of Arizona is playing better high school football, and I think that shows in the number of players that are signing out of the state.
Two questions. First.
That's a challenge for me. I'll try to stay with you.
Fine. You're plenty experienced. When you saw Arizona struggle defensively last year, what was your assessment of that situation? And also, number two, is Coach Cecil still going to be on the staff? I don't know if that's for you or Coach Sutton.
Yeah, that's a question for Coach. You know, everybody struggles at some point or another, and it's on both sides of the ball. We were struggling ourselves defensively, and we went in spurts. We played good, and then we played poorly. Certainly, something that I wasn't concerned with at the time was what was going on here with those numbers and that staff. But now it is our priority and something we'll attack and address.
How will your past experiences at other places you've been help you to get the most out of the players?
Well, I think that's something that I do, quite honestly, is get the best out of kids, to get the best out of coaches, and I think both of those are my responsibility on the defensive side of the ball. I think young men gotta gain confidence. Okay, they gain confidence through knowledge. They gain knowledge through being taught, and it'll be a staff full of great teachers. Our kids will know what the expectations are and what it is that they're supposed to do. And with that in mind, I think they'll go out and attack their duties with great success.
Obviously, most of the players aren't here anymore, or they're about to leave or go home for the holidays, or they're gone. So how will you communicate with the returning guys? How will that whole process play out?
One guy at a time. One guy at a time, and I'm sure I probably won't speak to every one of them before they get on campus, but we'll start with that. We'll start with introductions, and you know, little will be done over the phone, but very much excited and looking forward to when they get back on campus and we get a room full, and we get a room full of eyes, and get to start that process on a thorough basis.
Anything else for Coach Rhodes? All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, men. Looking forward to meeting you all.
Thank you.